Slovakia is the venue for the fourth round of the 2014 Blancpain Sprint Series. The Slovakia ring is located just outside the picturesque city of Bratislava, the country's capital, and it's a circuit that always provides some exciting racing. But before we look forward, let's look back to the previous round at Zandvoort. Whilst Harry Procek took the lead of the race in the Lamborghini, there was chaos in the middle of the pack. Roman Rusinov collecting Fabio Anidi's Ferrari, the two of them eliminated. Somehow Stefan Racina made it through reasonably unscathed, but that big accident brought the safety car out in the very early stages of the race. As ever in the Blancpain Sprint Series, the battling was relentless. Mateusz Lisowski passing Valdeno Brito to make up a position. After the safety car came in, Harry Procek continued to lead, but then he came in to do his mandatory pit stop, handing over to Jeroen Bleekemolen, which moved Max Coates into the lead of the race. It was an incredibly slow pit stop though from the Lamborghini guys, and combined with a spin for Bleekemolen, it meant they were out of the running for race victory. But then the rain started to come down. Some cars gambled on wets, some opted to stay out there on slicks, and it was slicks that were the best option because soon the track started to dry and it started to come back towards the slick runners. Jeroen Bleekemolen was now in a class of his own as he made his way through the field. René Rast was looking racy, trying to get the lead of the race away from Max Buch. The HCV Mercedes leading the championship, but René Rast, the German in the WRT Audi, was pushing hard and managed to go around the outside of Buch at the chicane. An incredible manoeuvre, and it was Rast who moved the number 2 Audi into the lead of the race. It was then Dominik Baumann in the 76 Schubert BMW who was pushing Buch hard when Buch ran wide at the Masters Bosch and lost the back end of his SLS. The BMW managed to avoid him and slotted through into second position. It wasn't just up the front where the action was relentless. Throughout the field there were battles going on left, right and centre. Here Valdeno Brito looking to the inside and managing to make a move on Mateusz Lisowski in the Silver Cup WRT Audi. Despite pressure from the BMW, René Rast held on to take victory for he and Enzo Ede, moving them up to third in the championship, but it's still Max Buch and Max Coates at the top of the standings. There were highs and lows for WRT in Zandvoort. Laurens Vanthoor and Cesar Ramos gambled on going on a wet tyre. It didn't work out for them, and as a result they lost a little bit of ground in the championship hunt. Meanwhile, their teammates in the number 2 car, Enzo Ede and René Rast, took victory by staying out there on the slick tyres, and as a result are now up to third in the standings. But repeating that this weekend is going to be tough.
Yes, for sure. We had good luck in Zandvoort. We had a good strategy with the rain, and so we finished P1 in the main race, so we will try to do the same here. It will be very hard, I think, but anyway, we will do our best.
Grasser Racing won the qualifying race in Zandvoort, but problems in the pit stop and then a spin for Jeroen Bleekemolen meant that in the main race they really struggled and didn't get as many points as they would have liked to continue with their championship challenge. Jeroen Bleekemolen has never raced here before, so it's going to be a learning curve for him this weekend, but his teammate Harry Procek is confident that as ever the Grasser Racing team and he and his teammate can get the job done.
We do try our best for the weekend for sure. We push for maybe first place after that, but first of all look that we have a good qualifying, good second free practice, and then we will see. All circuits what we have in a special way tricky, but this one is I think the fastest one what we have, and that makes it always very interesting. If you have a fast track, it's always much more difficult than when you have a small Mickey Mouse circuit.
We're back to having 2 Royale BMW Z4s this weekend. As ever, David Fuminelli and Stefano Colombo will be in the Silver Cup, but this weekend we see the return of Alex Zanardi. He missed the previous round in Zandvoort because he was doing a handbike race, but at the Slovakia ring, a circuit that should suit the BMW Z4, Zanardi is excited to get back in the car.
I look very much forward to get back in the car this weekend because it's a circuit that I love, but more than that is a machine that I've been missing a lot. It's now some time that I haven't driven, so yeah, I'm very excited to be here. The Slovakia ring is an incredible course, very fast. Some of the turns are quite different, so technically speaking it's quite difficult to find the right setup, because if you work mechanically to get the car biting the ground in the slow stuff, then you have the car quite unbalanced in the fast corners. So setup is the key word, and hopefully the BMW car will be a very good one to have in the race.
Fabio Onidi and Giorgio Pantano's Bitech McLaren was eliminated before they even got to the first corner in Zandvoort. A really disappointing weekend for them. They'll be hoping to bounce back. There's a change in the second 61 Bitech McLaren as well. Daniel Lloyd replaced by 2008 International Formula Masters champion Chris van der Drift. And whilst the New Zealander has experience with the car, it's a new circuit for him this weekend.
I've driven the McLaren now plenty of times. It's the first time here for me at Slovakia ring, so it's probably more than that, just getting a few laps in and seeing where the corners go really. Obviously now we're still a bit off the pace, just to improve a bit more, continue just developing the car a bit more and then get further up the field. I mean, I think we should be definitely aiming for sort of a midway, 10, 12 to start with, and then definitely get some points. I mean, that's definitely what we have to be aiming for this weekend.
The Schubert BMW squad made their debut in Zandvoort and finished second in the main race. And Thomas Jaeger and his teammate Dominic Baumann are hoping they can produce a similar performance this weekend at the Slovakia ring.
It's my first time here. It's a quite difficult circuit with a lot of which requires a lot of technique, and there are quite a few fast corners, and I think our BMW should suit well the track. The only problem is maybe the main straight. It's 900 meters long and we are not the best in top speed, but in the corners we should be very good.
Steph Dusseldorp was disappointed with the way his home race went at Zandvoort. He and Sergei Afanasiev no doubt hoping for better this weekend. In the sister championship leading car, Max Buch isn't here at Slovakia ring this weekend. He will be replaced by Nico Verdonk, who will join Max Goetz at the wheel of the 84 Mercedes.
I think Audi will be strong like Spa, Lamborghini as well. Blancpain is second, so I think Blancpain will push like hell. I think these two guys, Audi, Rast, Vantor and Blancpain will be very strong.
The Czech and the Slovakian combine once again at Reiter Engineering Lamborghini, with Thomas Enger joining Stefan Racina in the number 88 car. The duo haven't quite lived up to their undoubted pace yet so far this season, but the Slovakia ring seems to suit the Lamborghini car, so they'll be hoping they can perform stronger this weekend. And it is of course the home race for local man Stefan Racina.
For us, I think it's going to be quite tricky because now I wouldn't say it's my home circuit, even though I come from Slovakia, because lots of drivers that are now driving in Blancpain drove here already. So I think it's going to be a tough race. This is what I'm expecting, and I hope for a podium finish. But so far it looks that it's going to be really a challenging goal.
Good afternoon everybody, and it is time for the qualifying race here in Slovakia, the fourth round of the 2014 Blancpain Sprint Series season. My name is Jack Nichols. Alongside me here in the commentary box is John Watson. And John, usually when we come to Slovakia it's beautiful blue skies, baking hot, the temperature's there, but there's a little bit of a twist in the air.
Well, 22 Celsius, 26 track temperature, but my trusty weatherman, Vincent Boss, the boss of WRT, has seen rain is coming towards the circuit area, and in fact when it starts to rain he anticipates it's going to rain for the remaining part of the day.
Here's a look at the grid. Laurens Vanthoor and Harry Procek on the front row, then it's Marcus Winkelhock and René Rast on row 2, 3 Audis in the top 4. Then the first Mercedes, Max Goetz alongside David Fuminelli in the BMW. Thomas Enger will start in the Reiter Engineering Lamborghini. Alex Zanardi there 9th on the grid, just in front of Lukas Stoltz, the third HDP Motorsport car, a new entry for this weekend. Mateusz Lisowski will be in 12th place, the first of the Silver Cup cars. Andrea Montemini there in 13th place on the return for him. He missed the previous round in Zandvoort. There is Stefan Otelli, 15th on the grid. Valdeno Brito will start 17th ahead of Sten Pentus in 18th place. He's joined this weekend by Chris van der Drift. And then at the back of the grid we will have René Munich, and alongside him Sergio Jimenez, but we've already seen that car will be starting at the pit lane. The safety car pulls into the pits and we're about to go racing in the qualifying race here at Slovakia. This is on board with Harry Procek. He is second on the grid, on pole in the black WRT. Number 1 Audi is Laurens Vanthoor. The second row is René Rast and Marcus Winkelhock as we go green here in Slovakia. 20 metres wide this start-finish straight, and you can tell because the cars fan out, and it's Harry Procek who has taken the lead. Sorry, Jeroen Bleekemolen who has taken the lead in that Lamborghini. The other Lamborghini of Thomas Enger was pushed onto the inside line, and there's a bit of contact maybe in the middle of the pack. Everyone just about squeezes through. We go on board with Alex Zanardi, but it's Jeroen Bleekemolen who's off, and that's a spin. Oh, and that's a big accident for the number 88 machine, which is the Reiter Engineering car of Stefan Racina. And so he started that, and it's he who was pushed to the inside line on the way down towards turn 1. And he has had a big accident on the exit. It looked as though He came together with the Stef Dusseldorf 85 HCP Motorsport Mercedes, and the safety car unsurprisingly deployed here at Slovakia ring. Here's a look at the replay, John, and Enger initially gets squeezed onto the grass.
Well, he comes on the right-hand side of the racetrack trying to make space. Lawrence Van Voort pushes him wide, but Enger keeps his foot in it again. Coming out, the Lamborghini of Blancpain sweeps into the corner. Suddenly, Enger's got to get out of it, and he's been pinched on the inside. He got pinched on the way down. So now you've got cars two abreast.
Now look, there's
the contact.
So
that's suddenly... Well, that's what began the whole process. In fact, it happened before they even got anywhere near turn 2. That was still on the exit of turn 1 on the climb up over.
Wow.
It's on cartwheels 3 times in the air. Massive impact for the Lamborghini. Thomas Enger wonders whether he's taken a private pilot's license. There again you can see the damage to the barrier, the big hit. Then the car flies through the air. But the key is the car itself, the integrity of the cockpit is absolutely intact. And then comes to rest the rear of the car, straddling the barrier, steam from the radiators in the front, and that is as dramatic as it can get. Wipers are now being operated by most of the cars, so the rain that we had predicted falling about 3 o'clock, so we have to wait and see just whether this is going to continue or whether it's just a momentary sharp
red flag.
Well, there we are. I'm not surprised a red flag has come up. I think that's the sensible decision in the circumstances. Everything is just now being compounded, but opportunistically a pit stop from somebody at the point of the red flag coming out.
So there'll be 54 minutes and 2 seconds remaining when we get going again. There's the Reiter Engineering Lamborghini. The safety car pulls in after the red flag period here, after Thomas Eng's big crash, but already Jeroen Bleekemolen has stamped on the gas pedal and he is on his way, leading in the Grasser Racing Lamborghini as we start racing again in Slovakia. In second place it's Marcus Winkelhock in the Phoenix Audi. René Rast is right up behind him in the WRT Audi, but look at the visibility. Very difficult on the way down towards the first corner. Winkelhock is having to defend because Rast is looking to the outside. Nothing he can do about the German in front of him just yet, but he might try and get the cutback coming up into turn 2. Has he got enough of an overlap on the inside of the Phoenix machine? Doesn't look like he quite has as they come towards the right-hander. It's going to be very close, but Rast holds it on the inside line and takes second position, but Winkelhock's still going around the outside on the exit of 2. Down towards the hairpin now of 3. Great racing between two very experienced drivers. Surely now in the heavy braking zone, Rast will be able to get the job done. Still Winkelhock's holding on, but there he goes, through he goes. Very wide in the background, there goes Alex Zanardi, but René Rast is up into second place. That's brilliant for Jeroen Bleekemolen because he's managed to pull away from them. He's gapped over a second now.
As you see, Lawrence Van Voort, he's fighting his way past, or trying to get past Giorgio Pantano in the McLaren, which had such a great opportunistic, and he's got the inside.
Okay, so that's 4th position for Lawrence Van Voort. He managed to get past Pantano then down to 5th. 6th place I think now is Max Goetz. He's managed to get past Alex Zanardi in all that, and there's a look up the inside from Dominic Baumann as he tries to challenge I think it might be Aman Ibrahim who's got past him, and there's a spin for Zanardi. I think that may have been Baumann trying to get past Zanardi actually, and as he comes back onto the track he almost and possibly does collect Lucas Stoltz as Zanardi tries to get the car going again, but I think he got hit there by Dominic Baumann coming down into the hairpin of turn 10. The gap for the leaders come down to just 0.6 of a second. René Rast was the quickest man of anyone in the 2nd and 3rd sectors once he'd got past Marcus Winkelhock. There is the move from Max Goetz. He goes past Giorgio Pantano, so the Bitec McLaren starting to slip back as we feared it might. Jeroen Bleekemolen, it is leading the way. What's his advantage? It's only a couple of tenths of a second really over René Rast, but it looks as though Rast has been quicker so far in sector 2. And there's a look from Baumann. He goes past Giorgio Pantano now, so that is going to be 6th place I think for Dominic Baumann. This is Valdino Brito under attack from Aman Ibrahim looking to the inside, and around the outside of them is coming the car of Mateusz Lasowski, the Silver Cup WRT machine. But
where's he gone?
Where's he gone?
He's
there
in
he is. He's in the gravel.
I realised he wasn't there, and more big turfs kicked up onto the racetrack.
Out now, onto the back straight, almost nothing between them, maybe a car length, maybe half a car length now. Bleekemolen will surely have to defend as he comes down into the penultimate corner. Rast is going to look towards the inside, but he's still not quite close enough. Bleekemolen goes a little bit wide and Rast sees the inside line and forces his way past. René Rast takes the lead of the qualifying race here in Slovakia, sees the gap, gets it done. Oh, and off that Stef Dusseldorf. A difficult weekend for him. and a difficult race for him, but just gets worse and worse. Side-by-side action here as Giorgio Pantano loses out of position to David Fuminelli in the 34 Silver Cup Roa BMW.
Now can Van Thor think about looking down the inside of Winkelhock? He goes defensive because Van Thor did it. He's going to go the long way around, but it's wet on the outside.
Couldn't get that stopped, could he, Laurens Van Thor? I thought he was heading to the gravel trap for a moment, but he just managed to get the car stopped in time as he attacks Marcus Winkelhock in front of him. The Phoenix Audi of Winkelhock. We're on board with the WRT car of Laurens Van Thor in 4th position at the moment. He'll be handing over to his teammate Cesar Ramos when the pit stop window opens. Oh, and there's Stefan Ortelli off again, and that is turn 8 that Ortelli has gone off at, and unfortunately that is probably the end of his race now.
I mean, I'm going to give Stefan Ortelli a bucket and spade. He's enjoyed the gravel all day here today, Slovakia ring, and I mean, that's again an incident, driver incident, no doubt.
Look at the rain.
It is heavy. I mean, it is absolutely lashing down. And again, you can see it's just a blackout.
And
here's the inside, Winkelhock.
Winkelhock goes through. Does he pass Bleekemolen, or is there more grip out there on the outside? This is incredibly close, and Winkelhock goes through. Into 2nd place, we go on board with Van Thor. He can hardly keep the car in a straight line as he swoops through to take 3rd position away. This is torrential.
Well, I think we may well see the safety car being deployed. There's a yellow flag being shown. I don't know, that's because of there it is.
Baumann. Bauman's gone off. And that is a real shame for the young Austrian. That is just after turn 1. So he must have, I reckon he's pirouetted, lost the engine, and it's getting restarted, and off goes the Ferrari of Philippe Salaquada.
That's the reason why I think we're going to see a safety car deployment.
And Pantano as well.
Because the racetrack is saturated.
Yep.
Even these wet weather Pirelli tyres are struggling to try and give the drivers any level of grip whatsoever. Now these little bursts of rain come through and they dump massive amount of water. Then it goes again up the inside. Maximilian Goetz gets past Jerome Bleekemolen. You can see the Lamborghini struggling just to get any level of traction, grip at all.
The safety car has been deployed.
I wonder why it's been. Why did we have to wait so long? It was clear a lap ago.
Look, there's René Rast in the number 2 Audi. What has happened to Rast? He's dropped well back down the field. So does that mean Marcus Winkelhock is now leading the race? Laurens Van Thor will now be in 2nd place. And the cars will now pick up the safety car. Will we see them diving into the pit lane this time around? Some of the guys may choose to, but some of them may decide to stay out. And it looks as though the 76 car can't get going again. In comes Van Thor. He's one of them to come in. And so why wouldn't Winkelhock come into the lead?
I think that's Van Thor and Rast coming in together.
They're all coming in. Why wouldn't Winkelhock come in? He's going to now queue up behind the safety car.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's no obvious reason.
So in we come into the pits, and so far I think Winkelhock is the only man who hasn't come into the pits. Maybe David Fuminelli is still out there as well. This is some really proper rain coming down here at the Slovakia ring as the cars head out back onto the circuit, and the red flag has been thrown for the 2nd time in the race.
There is the grid behind the safety car, and it's Marcus Winkelhock's car that should be at the lead of these cars, but because Marcus Winkelhock...
Well, we've just had a message actually on race control. Cars which have not done their... Cars that have not done their stop must do it the first lap after the restart, and so it seems that they're saying fair enough, if you haven't done it, that's okay, because the safety cars come out, we accept that, you can do it the first lap after the restart and they won't be penalised, but they will be penalised because they'll be right to the back of the queue. So after our 2nd red flag period, the safety car pulls into the pits, and we will go 3rd time lucky here in Slovakia, as out across the line comes Enzo Ede leading the race. Into the pits comes Marcus Winkelhock to serve his driver change, but he's got Harry Projek right up behind him, Enzo Ede. It's Projek in the white and black Grasser Racing Lamborghini, looking around all over the place to try and get past. Nothing he can do. 3rd place then is Cesar Ramos. 4th is Nico Verdonk. 5th is Mateus Stumpf, who's taken over from Valdeno Brito in that BMW Team Brazil car. Running wide there was Cesar Ramos, but it's still Enzo Ede in the lead of the race for the time being as the cars crest the hill. You can see the order down the bottom there as they come into turn 2. The spray is pretty bad, but Enzo Ede has done a good job to hold on to the lead of the race for the time being. We continue on board with Harry Projek chasing down Enzo Ede in front through the left-hand kink now at turn 4. Then the double right-handers of 5 and 6
Rennie Rast, come on Rennie. Oh, he's gone. What Enzo was that? That was Cesar Ramos.
Yeah, Cesar Ramos.
And the Mercedes Van Donk has got alongside, but Ramos is on the inside. He's just about consolidated. Van Donk dives on the inside of the turn 8, forces the issue alongside up now to turn 9. The Mercedes should have the advantage.
Here they come towards the left-hander. The Mercedes is on the inside line, and Nico Verdonk goes through. Ramos, though, tries to hold it all the way around the outside in these wet conditions, and he's done it. But it's Enzo Ede who is leading the race overall in the Pro Cup, and they're up to third in the championship now, so a good, a strong race here as well, and they could really bring themselves into title contention going into the remaining 3 rounds of the season.
I think Enzo Ede is benefiting from co-driving with Rennie Rast. I think he's moved on to another level of ability and performance. Nico Verdonk again trying to find a way past Cesar Ramos, down into turn 13, but hasn't got the track position to make it even an attempt. So again, it's just where do you place your car? The Mercedes runs much wider, trying to straighten out coming through the final part of turn 13 to get power on earlier, to get the drive. But Ramos is strong at that part of the racetrack, and he's able to open up the gap as he comes onto pit straight.
Well, there's the view from Van Thorp as he now comes right up to the back of Harry Procek, Ramos I should say, as he comes up to the back of Harry Procek down into the first corner. Is this going to be a chance for a cutback for the Brazilian? Quite possibly. Gets a really good drive out of turn 1, runs wide, uses all that curb, but that loses them some momentum actually, doesn't it?
Well, it's slippery out there. You get wheel spin, one wheel will suddenly spin, then your traction control cuts in. That also loses your momentum. It stops you getting into bigger trouble, but that's the danger of traction control. But look how much quicker he is through turn 2. This is an opportunity for Ramos to maybe catch Harry Procek slightly unawares into turn 3.
Down towards turn 3, to the inside goes Cesar Ramos, not quite close enough, but it's getting very close, and Verdonk is right up behind as well. The next corner's a left-hander, so this sort of overlap won't do Ramos any good unless he can hold it for the next right-hander of turn 5. Looks to the inside line. Good move from Cesar Ramos. He gets past and up into second place. Great stuff from the Brazilian.
Yeah, that was gutsy. He went the long way round, took the chance. Harry Procek gave him enough working room, but the Audi was carrying the sufficient speed to get the job done. And Nico Verdonk thought, well, I'm going to have a bit of this action as well, but the door got firmly closed by Procek, so he defends his 3rd place.
But here are the 2 Audis, nose to tail. But it's the number 2 Audi that at the moment has the advantage in the championship, so I don't think we're going to get any sort of move over messages.
No, and I'm assuming now that Audi have got this position 1-2, they may well be indicating to their 2 drivers that, yeah, race each other but don't take each other off. Remember that there's people behind us who take points away from us if 1 or 2 of these cars ends up in a gravel trap or worse. So it is still a race. I mean, the Brazilian is going to have a look down the inside on the young Belgian driver. He feels he's got a victory potential for, certainly pace. Laurens van Voor and Cesar Ramos, car number 1. That was the car that set the pole position. So they might feel that this is their race, and all it takes is a little mistake from the lead Audi, and that'll be Cesar Ramos all over. And they've almost the commitment that Ramos had when he went around the outside of Harry Procek in the Lamborghini a couple of laps ago, indicates he's not here just for a run.
Oh, and that's a shame for Lucas Wolff. He has gone off the circuit.
Turn 1.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's on the. He's gone right through on the exit of turn 1. He was running in 15th place. Harry Procek has just gone 0.4 of a second quicker than the 2 Audis in front of him in the first sector. What's the middle sector looking like? No, he's about 0.6 of a second slower, so it's sort of balanced out. But Procek all of a sudden looking quite quick. Also looking quite quick. It's Vincent Abril, yeah, looking to try and get past Cacabueno as they come down towards the right-hander.
He's done it.
He's got past.
Yes, good pass by Vincent Abril. And there you can see in the WRT garage they appreciate that manoeuvre, but Cacabueno is slightly better positioned in the corner to try and make the cutback, but Abril has got the advantage. The Audi seems to have very good traction, in particular out of turn 13, as we see this battle again. Enzo Ede not being defensive, but just putting his car where he knows the Brazilian wants to put his car.
And now we have got, and that's a move for the lead of the Silver Cup. Vincent Abril going around the outside of Stefano Colombo at turn 1. What an impressive manoeuvre from the Frenchman. I didn't really see that coming.
Well, two cars and 2 corners, basically.
On board we go with Cesar Ramos in that second spot. Through the long right-hander, a little left king now.
It's always the back end of the car.
He's gone.
He spun it. What have you done, Enzo?
He spun the car from the lead of the race, and Vincent Boss can't believe it. He's got to wait now to get back onto the circuit. That's Marc Vassin going past, so that'll be down in 10th position for Enzo Ede. Frustration in the WRT garage, and frustration, no doubt, for Enzo himself, because he was staring at a front row start for tomorrow's main race.
I don't really understand. I think other than he was in turn 8, he was probably a bit more to the middle of the racetrack than he needed to be. And once the back end of the Audi started to swing out, the pendulum effect took over, and Cesar Ramos saw it all, just checked his car and got clear of the spinning Enzo Ede. You could see the response from the Audi WRT team at that, what looks like a harmless spin, in that it's anything but harmless, because it damages the potential of Enzo Ede and René Rast in the principal race tomorrow afternoon. They're going to be really handicapped now, falling back. Wait to see where Enzo Ede comes across start-finish line. It is in the 8th place.
No, it'll be further than that, because Vassin got past him as well.
Zanardi even possibly. No, maybe not Zanardi.
No, it's 9th place then for Enzo Ede, but here's the look from Vincent Abril. He's absolutely on it, and he's now gone past Matthias Stump and is up into 4th position. Stump's fighting back though on the exit, on the run down now towards turn 2. The BMW has the inside line. Abril will try and squeeze him towards the inside. He may be able to try and hang on all the way around the outside here at turn 2, but he's not quite able to. Stump gets back past, but what a great scrap this is, and more concern in the it's the highs and lows really for WRT at the moment. Here's a look at Enzo Ede then, and the back, he just seems to start to lose the back end, and instead of, you know, straightening it up, tries to save it, and it backfires on him.
Yeah, but he's on the wrong part of the racetrack. He's too far over to the right as he entered into turn 8, and once he got out there, he had to get out of the throttle, and of course without drive to stabilise the back of the car, that's where the pendulum effect plays.
On board again with Prochik. Now let's watch him. How much does he check out his mirrors? A little look there, through the left-hand kink onto the start-finish straight. There's the look as they come down towards turn 1. Just 0.8 of a second between these three cars, and Vincent Abril is maybe the man most likely to make a move. Currently in 4th position in the number 4 WRT Audi R8. The V10 engine, oh look at the traction on the exit of the corner, and he almost loses it as he bounces onto the grass. But Abril keeps it all together. 4th place still for him, but that little bit of distraction may be the key and may allow Harry Prochik to hold on to this 2nd place. Under braking for turn 10. They're all going very, very deep in, and Abril's off and in the gravel trap. What a shame for the Frenchman. A superb drive, and that also means they're going to lose the lead of the Silver Cup, and now he's going bumper to bumper with Caca Bueno. But what a shame for Vincent Abril. He's been stunning in this 2nd stint. He took the lead of the Silver Cup away from Stefano Colombo, but now he's put it in the gravel trap on the final lap. And through the final corner now comes Cesar Ramos. He and Laurens Vanthoor are going to win their 2nd qualifying race of the season so far. It's victory for WRT after an incredible qualifying race here at the Slovakia ring. He will be on pole position tomorrow. Harry Prochik will start alongside him on the front row of the grid. 3rd for Nico Verdonk in the Mercedes. 4th for Matthias Stump. 5th and winning the Silver Cup will be Stefano Colombo, with Vincent Abril finishing in 6th place, just ahead of Caca Bueno. Here's the results eventually after the qualifying race here in Slovakia. It's the win for Cesar Ramos and Laurens Vanthoor, finishing 3.6 seconds clear in the end of the 2nd place car, Harry Prochik and Jeroen Bleekemolen. That takes the championship lead down just a tiny bit to Maximilian Goetz, who finished in 3rd place with his teammate for this weekend, Nico Verdonk. 4th place for Matthias Stump and Valdino Brito. 5th and winning Silver Cup, Stefano Colombo and Fuminelli. Vincent Abril, great drive, but it wasn't quite to be. He finishes down in 6th place ahead of Caca Bueno and Sergio Jimenez. And what could have been for Enzo Ede, leading the race until he spun with a couple of laps to go. Also, what could have been for the number 6 Phoenix Racing Audi. Marcus Winkelhock was in the lead of the race, but didn't come in when the pit stop window opened for some reason, whether it's him, whether it's the team, whatever happened, it means they finished down in 14th position. And then a number of retirements, and we had 22 cars start the race, and 16 cars made it to the end, so a reasonably high rate of attrition. So there are the winning trophies being handed to Cesar Ramos and Laurens Vanthoor. A 2nd qualifying race victory for Ramos and Vanthoor, but as they said to you down on the grid, John, they will be desperate to get their hands on a main race victory. It's time for the main race here in the Slovakia ring, and as you can see, much more pleasant weather. Here's a look at the grid. Cesar Ramos will start on pole position, alongside him Harry Procik on the front row. Nico Verdonk will start third alongside Matej Stump. That in fifth position, Stefano Colombo's car. He will not start, he's just been pushed back to the pit lane. Kaka Bueno will start in seventh ahead of Marc Basseng in eighth position. Enzo Eid was leading the race yesterday until a last minute spin saw him drop down to ninth place. Miguel Toril in 11th ahead of Fabian Hamprecht, making his Blancpain GT Sprint Series this weekend. Chris van der Drift and René Munich will be on the 7th row of the grid ahead of Nicky Meyer-Melnoff in the car that was leading at a time yesterday. Luca Wolf unfortunately ended his race. He'll be starting just by Fabio Anidi. Thomas Jaeger in the 76 BMW, and then Sergei Afanasyev completing the cars we will have out there. Cesar Ramos in the number 1 WRT Audi is on pole position, but right alongside him is Harry Procik. The second row of the grid is Nico Verdonk and Matej Stump as we wait for the lights to go out here in Slovakia, and we're racing. Who's got the best getaway? It's a good start from Procik by the looks of things. Ramos is going nowhere. He's falling back through the order. It's also a good start from Matej Stump as they come down towards turn 1. Ramos is super late on the brakes, and as a result there's contact. Off goes René Rast. Off goes Cesar Ramos. Off goes Fabian Hamprecht. Off I think goes the second of the Grasso Racing Lamborghinis, but they all came together in turn 1. It's not rocket science, John.
No, I know. I'm sitting here watching it and thinking, I mean, surely amongst these drivers...
No, it's the first one. It's Harry Procik. It's the 28 car. Harry Procik has gone off at the first corner.
And he was tagged going into turn 1, but there were cars coming through the pack still on full throttle, while others were off the throttle, rolling into turn 1, and the consequent 3 cars we can see there in the gravel on the outside of turn 1.
So, big news as far as the championship is concerned then. Harry Procik out of the race at the first corner, all because it all just got a bit close in there. It looked to me as though it was Ramos going in too late on the brakes, but we'll have to wait to see. That means Nico Verdonk in the championship leading car is in the lead of the race. Surely we'll have to have a safety car for this, by the way, meanwhile. But it's the zero car of Kaka Bueno who is up in second place. Somehow the Fortec car of Miguel Toril is in third position. Absolutely astonishing. There, unfortunately, out is Stump, the teammate of that man there, Sergio Jimenez.
Yeah, I mean, a messy start, but there, BMW, second row of the grid, taking full advantage of it. A fresh engine, contact with the left rear of the Mercedes, but not sufficient to destabilise the car. But that is an aggressive opening lap as we watch the cars now filter through the back end of the circuit, through turns 11 and down into the long turn 13.
There was Antonio Herman we saw on the pit wall as you spoke to him earlier, John, and he was saying that it was Brazil-like weather conditions, a little bit more so today, and they'll feel at home in second place because they've only had one podium finish in their Blancpain Sprint Series careers. Oh, and off is Nicky Meyer-Melnoff, and that's at turn 9.
Turn 9, that's a big impact, and that's you see the safety car already on the track deployed, and that is a
I don't know, we haven't got the safety car.
But there was a car, a road-going Honda Civic. So that car was driving either over the bridge against the flow of traffic, I don't know where, but we just got a glimpse of that car.
Into the pits comes Alex Zanardi. He's picked up a puncture. We're on board with him now. What an action-packed start to the race, and it's the rear left that has gone for Zanardi. So a real shame for the Italian who was making his comeback really this weekend after missing out. It looks as though that second row BMW hasn't gone back out onto the circuit either. So Stefano Colombo and David Fuminelli still out there. We're not under safety car conditions. The car that was out there is a little Honda Civic that is now, I can see out the window, making its way back around the track.
What was a Honda Civic doing in the racetrack?
That was just the course car that follows them around during the first lap. So it's all, but we still, whatever happens, we've got Nico Verdonk leading the way. Kaka Bueno there in the zero car, multiple Brazilian stock car champion, desperate to get past. And stock cars in Brazil are not like stock cars in the UK. They're proper V8 machines.
They're proper racing cars, but they're a very close competition, and you're seeing close competition here between the Mercedes and the BMW. Nico Verdonk getting no chance to just simply get over that first lap excitement. He's got pressure from Kaka Bueno at pretty much every corner of the two cars as you go through turn 8 up the hill. Now where is the car that we saw of Nicky Meyer-Melnoff? Well, there it is. It was on the exit of turn 8 that he went off and into the barrier. So, and I wonder, was that an assist, because there's a bit of damage to the front of Alex Zanardi's car. You can see paint damage on the front spoiler. But the puncture was rear left. Puncture was rear left. But let's look again at the start. Right. Again, fanning out the full 20 metres plus width of the racetrack. Cars actually on the red and white exit pit mark. I don't have identification. and then the Lamborghini moves in, but for Verdonk, but it's the two Audis, they get tangled, and Harry Project just sort of, he got out of it early just to sort of do the right thing, and he was just utterly swamped by people. 4 cars, including the BMW, the Brazil, the number of the 0 car, which gets involved.
So this is the 0, it was the 30 car that got involved.
Yeah.
This is on board here, and you'll see Ramos is there on the left, Cesar Ramos. He gets a slow start, and then he seems to me to go in too late on the brakes. I might be wrong here, but Ramos keeps going, look, and throws it in, and as a result, everyone squeezes together.
Yeah, I mean, the two Audis come together, one goes from left to right, tags, and Zoid, that then sets off the process. So Cacabueno, he gets through cleanly and clearly.
Oh,
that big impact on turn 8.
He's just gone straight on, hasn't he, there?
Well, we just caught the very tail end of it. It might have been that he got a tank slapper, and then the car's bitten and just gone straight off. I suspect, as we know,
this was the replay.
Yeah, the replay. And that's the contact, the slight contact. Nico Verdonk and the Mercedes getting a little love tap from his Brazilian mate. Looking further back, we've
had a change for third place, because Lucas Wolf is now up and past Miguel Toril, and now here's the move from Marc Basseng going past Thomas Jaeger as they come into the final corner. Ramos has lost out to Basseng as well, so the 2012 FIA GT1 World Champion is absolutely on a mission now. Marc Basseng, he's up into 5th position, so good stuff from him. Also behind, it's very close between Cesar Ramos and Vincent Abril. The two WRT teammates we might see them battling coming down into the first corner. Abril looks to the inside, late on the brakes, and he goes past Cesar Ramos. But there's an awful lot of bodywork hanging off the number 1 Audi, and that we're on board with now, and that might be affecting him a little bit because he was right in the middle of the pit. This is Sasha Halleck in the
left front of that
Grasser Racing Lamborghini. He went off at turn 3. He's now making his way into the pit. Oh, and Zanardi's out of the race by the looks of things. A real shame for the Italian getting involved in that first corner incident. So here's the replay of how the Fortec car lost third place. It was a look up the inside from Lucas Wolf, and Miguel Toril, to be fair, tried to hold it around the outside, but Wolf kept his nose in there and then had the inside line as they came down towards turn 2. So good racing between the two of them, and great to see Fortec running at the front.
There's a Ramos's car, we've seen that now. He's the tail end of this group of cars coming on to start-finish straight. He pulls up alongside Vincent Abril. He's got the run off him, but he's on the outside of the corner. Abril will no doubt try and maintain his position on the inside, and Callaway's had to give it up. He's conceded it. So a good job from Cesar Ramos to get round the outside.
Well, yeah, that is interesting, because those two probably have some sort of team order action going along. Cacabueno is right up behind Nico Verdonk, and they've said all weekend, the Mercedes guys, that it's going to be very, very difficult for them this weekend. Look at the differing lines, that's very interesting, but the Mercedes is not the car to have around here.
Well, the Mercedes is a very quick car, but just compared to the Audi and the Lamborghini at this racetrack, they feel that you need a mid-engine car here to be competitive. The Mercedes is mid-engine, but it's in front of the driver rather than behind.
Oh, and very late on the brakes, Vincent Abril. Wow, that was interesting. Oh, and the thing to point out here is Miguel Toril has dropped right back, hasn't he? So Toril was 4th at the start of this lap, but he's now down in 6th position, I think, with 8th place Vincent Abril right up behind him. Here's a look on board with Cesar Ramos. Are we going to see what happened to Miguel Toril up in front? He goes very, very wide into 6th, and as a result, Thomas Jaeger sees the opportunity to go past, and I presume Cesar Ramos is going to do him as well, down into turn 8, through the kink of 7, and here it is.
Yeah, and I think just again, the whole situation for Miguel Toril, was he's slightly unseated by the BMW getting through, kept out on the left part of the exit of turn 6.
Now right up behind as they come across the line is Cacabueno, behind Nico Verdonk. It was 0.3 of a second last time they crossed the line, it was now 0.2 of a second coming down towards turn 1. So the pit stop window is now open, which is a 10-minute section where all the cars have to come in, change driver, change all 4 tyres and head back out again. There's no minimum pit stop time, it's all about how quickly you can do it, and that's Max Goetz who's going to be taking over the car that is at the moment in the lead of this race.
And he is coming in, because there's the outside line that you take to make the pit lane entrance. Cacabueno has now got the opportunity with a clear racetrack to show the performance. His last lap was, well, 2 minutes 4, in fact his best lap's a 2.2, so he will want to try and shave as many, well, almost seconds off his best lap. There's still a battle going on between the two Mercedes.
Yep, this is Sergei
Afanasyev for 6th and 7th place.
Yep, he is right up behind Miguel Torrell as they come down towards the first corner. So in the pits, we've got Nico Verdonk, our race leader. This is also where the teams can make a big change. Through goes Afanasyev, reasonably straightforward. He goes past Miguel Torrell, but this is, as I say, where the teams can make a big difference to the race order. We saw it in Zandvoort. A slow pit stop can really cost you. That's Laurens Vanthoor getting in the Cesar Ramos car. Just one more tyre to go now for the HTP squad. Goes on, that looked pretty clean. Engine fires up and away he goes. So that was a good stop from HTP.
Hopefully they get out at a part of the track where there is relatively little traffic around them, and then with the fresh set of tyres on, well, there's just one car ahead of them, one is the Renault Munich. Yeah, Mercedes, so that'll not be a particular issue. And with fresh tyres, you want to max that out as possible, as quickly as possible.
Now look at this. Out has come the number 1 car, well in front of the Schubert BMW. So the 76 Schubert team have lost out in that pit stop change, and that's a shame for them. Jimenez surely will be taking over on this lap. And that means Lucas Wolff is going to stay out there and inherit the lead of the race in the HTP Mercedes. But in now comes Caca Bueno. This is, for the moment, the battle for the lead of the race. Past the big pit control, race control building on the left-hand side there. Now under the pit garages, the cameras flashing as he comes into the pits. Our camera's down there to watch this vital pit stop, which could determine the lead of the race if the BMW guys can do a good job.
Into the start the left rear, work round to the right rear. Watch that wheel, it might have been a problem. They've got to then go forward. I mean, it is such a demanding task. These guys doing these pit stop changes, I've got to drop wheels, pick up wheels, do it in sequence, get it right. Good stop. I mean, that's a great stop for the Brazil. They're going to be back out ahead of this, what was leading Mercedes-Benz, because well there it is, the BMW is rolling, waiting for the Mercedes to come out of turn 14 through 13, and it's going to be, well, side by side as they come into turn 1. Great effort by the Brazil team. But
here we go then. Sergio Jimenez drops the throttle. It's going to be very tight because the Mercedes is at full racing speed and the Mercedes holds it for the time being. So that is the 84 car back into the lead then, but we've still got a few more pit stops to come. Lucas Wolff in the second HTP machine has to come in. Good stop from the Brazilians, but not good enough.
He's gone off.
That's Laurens Vanthoor on the exit of turn 2. So he must have run wide, got on the gravel, and then struggled to sort the car out.
Grass, look at the grass. He's going to have a problem with overheating if he's not careful, because that car, that's the best grass cutter you can see this weekend at Slovakia Ring.
Looks more like a grasser car. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, he's way off on the gravel. That's a fundamental. I mean, you don't often see Laurens Vanthoor lucky not to tag the barrier, so he just gets to the tunnel and then drops down. Coming in, Laurens Vanthoor has got to come in to clear that grass.
Yeah, a real shame for the WRT Audi, and this is really, as we move to the final 3 rounds of the season in Portugal, Zolder and Baku, this is really giving a strong advantage now to the 84 HTP Mercedes of Max Goetz. There you can see the number 4 car. Vincent Abril has been into the pits and now handed over to Mateusz Sosowski. They're under investigation for a pit stop infringement, and their team manager has been asked to go and see the race director immediately. So a little bit of trouble there. More trouble here though.
It didn't take long for that to boil up, did it?
No.
And that was a little over a lap from the point he went off, and that is absolutely, I mean, dread to think what it's doing to the engine.
Here come our race leaders then, I think, who will retake the lead. Yeah, you can see the HTP squad still changing the rear right wheel. So into the lead of the race goes Max Goetz as he comes across the line.
And Jimenez last lap was 1.2 seconds quicker than Maximilian Goetz. So Jimenez has now found the grip of the car, got the confidence, and is really flying and reeling back in what will be ultimately the race leader, Maximilian Goetz.
We go on board with Sergio Jimenez. And whoa, Goetz was nowhere near. He was nowhere near getting the apex at that second part of the corner, and as a result, Sergio Jimenez in the BMW Team Brazil car moves into the lead of the race. He tried to do the double apex, totally missed the second apex, and as a result, he was on the grass.
Well, I mean, you don't often see a mistake from the young German driver such as that. That was a real own goal, if you want to call it that, and that's all Sergio Jimenez needed.
But he's in all sorts of trouble there for Renault Munich. Yeah. He has been off the circuit because because he's off the circuit, but also there's some gravel around. So I wonder if he's run into trouble. I can't quite make out.
I think that's coming into turn 7, exit of turn 6.
Exit of turn 6 into turn 7. Drive-through penalty for Vincent Abril and Mateusz Sosowski, the men who are currently in second place in the Silver Cup. and that is for a pit stop infringement, so that's a shame for them. They're currently in 8th place. They'll drop right down the order, and we're watching now Alessandro Latifi, who is in 4th position. But there's our race leaders, the Brazilians, Sergio Jimenez and Caca Bueno. But you can look at the time he's taken out down here.
As I'm just going to point out, the last lap across, the gap between 2nd and 3rd was 5.1 seconds. It's probably been just about half, maybe 3 seconds as they come down into turn 10.
There are the Schubert squad, and there is Thomas Jäger, the man who has joined Dominic Baumann in that 3rd place car. Baumann not only closing on 2nd place Mercedes, which you may expect, but is also closing in on race leading BMW.
Yes, but Jimenez is not under pressure. He's got a 3.2 second advantage, and that's an extending advantage, so he's just driving within himself and within the car's performance. It's really going to be this battle that's going on for 2nd place with Dominic Baumann now almost in a position to think about, well, I've got an opportunity over the top of the hill, down the inside into turn 10. It's a risky place to do it, but he gets alongside and he makes it look so easy.
It's a 2nd place now for Baumann, and off is Aman Ibrahim, the Indian racer, sliding off through the grass, and it looks like he'll be able to recover. And here's the battle now. Through on the inside goes Lucas Stoltz. He goes past Alessandro Latifi and takes 5th position away. René Rast has already got past the Audi as well, so René Rast is up into 4th place. There you can see the number 2 car turning through the 2nd corner, and here's a replay of the pit stop of number 86. Mechanic picks up the wheel, and oh dear, here comes the contact, John. Wheel into the back of the legs by the looks of it.
I mean, the mechanics,
Wolf goes down.
Yeah, but he didn't expect the driver to be sort of making his way into the garage at the point. There you can see there's frustration. Well, I mean, you know, whose responsibility is it? The guy taking the wheel off has got to get rid of it as quick as possible. In my view, Lucas Wolf should have been a bit more on his toes and got out of the way, and not got into the way in the first place.
Caca Bueno looking pretty nervy. He's fingers crossed all around the Brazilian BMW camp. And here comes Baumann. He's got past the BMW Team Brazil car on the exit of turn 6, I think that was. And is that a problem for Jimenez? He seemed to have dramatically slowed down. Baumann is away, and he's in the lead of the race for Team Schubert. Here comes the replay. This is around the right-hander of turn 6. And yeah, he goes around the outside. Superb stuff from Dominic Baumann. What a move to take the lead of the race on the penultimate lap. And here are the 2, and Rast is through. Rast has got past Max Goetz, so he is up into 3rd place on the final lap of the race. That drops the championship leaders down into 4th position. That'll be good news for Rast and Ede. It'll move them up to 3rd position in the Drivers' Championship as they turn through the left-hander. But here now, into the final corner, for the final time, comes the 76 Schubert BMW squad. They only joined the championship at the last round in Zandvoort. They had a podium finish there, but thanks to a superb drive from Dominic Baumann, they're going to take victory in Slovakia. A superb performance. Dominic Baumann and Thomas Jäger win for Schubert BMW. It's 2nd place for Sergio Jimenez. He will be so frustrated that he let that lead slip. 3rd place on the final lap for René Rast. He and Enzo Ede finishing on the podium after being in the gravel trap at the first corner. 4th place for Max Goetz. That extends his championship advantage, but for 4th place he will pick up 12 points, so it'll only be up to 18 points. 5th place now will be Lucas Stoltz and Lucas Wolf, and they win the Silver Cup with 5th overall. Pro-Am victory goes to Alessandro Latifi and Marc Basseng, their best overall finish of the season so far, with a 7th place slot. 6th position for Steph Dusseldorp and Sergei Afanasiev after starting in 19th on the grid. They will be pleased with that as well. But, well, what a performance for Dominic Baumann and his teammate Thomas Jäger. Here's a look at the results. 29 laps and an epic race in the Slovakia ring. BMW's 1st and 2nd. And I'm not sure that has ever happened in the Blancpain Sprint Series before. And it's Thomas Jäger and Dominic Baumann ahead of Caca Bueno and Sergio Jimenez. BMWs have always been strong at this particular circuit though. Enzo Ede and René Rast taking 3rd position. Nico Verdonk and Max Goetz in 4th place. Good news for their championship as some of their main rivals retire. Lucas Wolf and Lucas Stoltz, their debut finishing in 5th place and winning the Silver Cup. Afanasiev and Dusseldorp from the back of the grid to 6th position, and Marc Basseng and Alessandro Latifi win the Pro-Am class. They finish in 7th place overall, and there you can see Cesar Ramos and Laurence Vanthoor after a difficult race for them. They end up finishing down in 12th position. Sasha Halleck and Stefan Landman in 12th spot, just behind Ramos and Vanthor, but they were a lap down, and then David Fuminelli and Stefano Colombo were the last of our finishers in 13th place ultimately.
Dominic Baumann, Thomas Jaeger, explain to us please, you started 90th in the grid, you win the race. Thomas, what happened at the beginning?
Yeah, I had a perfect start in the first corner. I think we were P6 or P5 or something. Then again, our pit crew made a perfect job at a stop, and then Dominic, he was just the fastest again, 1 second faster than the cars in front of him every lap, and so this was possible today for us, and we are all very happy after the bad Saturday yesterday that we are on the top.
Dominic, 2 great overtakes. First, Max Goetz to take ahead of the Mercedes, but then where did you get past the Team Brazil car? Because suddenly you were much quicker.
I don't know what happened, so I tried it sometimes on the inside on corner number 6 and it didn't work, so I thought, okay, I have to do something else because I'm quicker, and then it was just a decision from half a second, okay, I'll go on the outside and try to stay on his side, and the next corner is the left corner, and so it worked and it's just perfect. Yeah, it's great.
Well done, Thomas. Well done, Dominic.
Here's the look at the points classifications then after that, and Max Goetz now has a big advantage over Jeroen Bleekemolen and Harry Project in 3rd place. Maximilian Buch hopefully will be returning for the remainder of the season, but it's Max Goetz who now has the advantage at the top of the standings. 4th place is now Kaka Bueno and Sergio Jimenez, level on points with Enzo Eden and Rene Rast, so that's a very interesting development. Dominic Baumann and Thomas Jaeger, despite only competing in 2 races, are now up into 6th. Reigning champion Laurens Vanthor down in 7th place. It's the top step of the podium for Dominic Baumann and Thomas Jaeger. For the first time, a victory for them in the Blancpain Sprint Series. But what a wonderful weekend it's been in the Slovakia ring. Next up, we are in Portimao in 2 weeks' time. From myself, Jack Nichols, and John Watson, who's been alongside me. We'll see you then.